Then they do this weird thing. They're like, no, Vedui is unreachable. You know, he can't be reached. We don't know where he is. And then you get this really, really weird AI because the AI is broken. And this happens to me once in a while when I load into the game. I don't really know why, but basically you can see. Welcome, Survivor, to another base building episode. Well, maybe not quite a full base, but at least the entryway to a base. I guess you could consider it a full base. I mean, it will keep you safe. I didn't put any forges or any bedroll or anywhere to sleep, but I guess it would sort of work. So I had previously made some safe entryways to bases, and including my hot dog base, loot base, XP base, etc., which was using water. And water is really effective in slowing down the zombies, but it's not the only way. There are also other ways, such as using barbed wire. The problem with barbed wire is that they degrade, so we are taking a look at how can we use barbed wire but avoid them degrading because the zombies are touching them. And this is something that I'm definitely not the first one to do. I was running across this in my Let's Play Resident Evil episode as I was trying to build something and getting it wrong. I decided to change tack in how I was building it and started to build something like this, and I realized that hey, there's actually some fairly simple ways of doing that. So we're going to be having, well, it's a raised platform. Obviously, if you're doing it on the ground, they'll just bash their way straight in. So you want to have a ramp up of some sort. You have the barbed wire on the side, and you have the pole. So what purpose does the pole suit? And that's the excellent question. The reason being is that if the zombies are walking too close to the barbed wire, and I should be doing this, they will actually take damage. So if I walk up like this, nothing happens. If I walk here, nothing happens. Except that, of course, I am slowed down. You see, I'm walking really slowly. Even if I'm running, pushing myself, I am going really, really slowly. And how's that? I mean, I got the barbed wire. Why isn't it damaging me? Why isn't it being degraded? And the reason is that, well, I am taking damage if I'm coming from this side. So this first one will probably degrade and vanish. And I can show that with use of my nail gun. You take this one as 194. If I walk up here, just on the edge, I am taking damage, which is alright. It doesn't really matter that much. It's just the first one. But if I'm in here, I push against it, I try to rub myself, nothing happens. No damage is taken to me, nor to the barbed wire. This one took some damage as part of building it, but nothing here. Of course, if you're on this really weird straight, nothing happens. If you're on this angle, it still seems to matter, I think, because you're cutting across here. So potentially these ones on the side might be degraded, but of course we got this long journey ahead of us if we want to get to that side, which is what we want the zombies to do. So as part of this, when I was doing my Let's Play, I was trying out different ways, such as using plates. Plates unfortunately seem to be too thin, which is a little bit weird because you look at the barbed wire, it's like hair thin. And the plate is out to around there, but with just a plate, you still rub yourselves against them and take damage, which degrades them. Trying something else, such as the poles or anything slightly wider, works perfectly because it means that you or the zombies are never rubbing yourself all the way up, and there's still quite a lot of pathing space here for the zombies to walk. If you don't have enough pathing space, it means that the zombies are gonna clump up, and you don't want them to clump up, because if they clump up are in the way, they will decide that, hey, I'm just gonna bash here because you were up there, which is obviously what we want to be. And if you have the zombies standing here bashing, they're not going to do just one damage, they're going to do a lot more damage, and that's going to bring your whole thing down. So that's the reason why I decided to make a dual one, so that they have extra space. It really depends on your concurrent zombie setting. If you have it very high, you might want to do more than 2. If you just have 8, maybe 1 is sufficient. I decided just to do 2. I also made sure to build out of glass, just so I have a good visibility. It gets so cramped otherwise, but this works really well. And of course you have the poles here so that they can't do anything. So what about on this side? Potentially, if you jump up here, they could take some damage, as you see happening to me as well. I'm not sure how big of an issue that is, because normally zombies don't jump up there because they can't actually fit. So I believe that they will just keep on trying to go here, and that they will not try to jump up because, well, they don't actually fit there. And that's at least my belief. We'll see how that actually happens. They don't normally jump They don't want to get up here because they want to be on the same level as you are, at least the player is. So the top one and the bottom one is there a top one? Oh, there is one. Probably should color that one. This one and this one is insufficient space for the zombies to walk through. Players can, of course. Now I'm taking damage from the barbed wire there. I'm gonna have to repair that, but zombies generally will not be walking up there because the distance between that one and that one is less than the zombie model, which is a little bit weird. Potentially dogs could, crawlers and spiders, but again, they try to just normally just go on the same level as you are. If you are standing up here, for instance, let's say you have a block up like this, then they might try because they are trying to get up on the same level as the player is. But normally that doesn't happen because you'll be here. And keeping it just glass and keeping it as open as you can allows you to stand here and just shoot at them, which of course is what you want. Whether you're using a gun or you're using a crossbow or a bow, that's what you want to have. You want to have open sight lines. And of course, the next question is, how do you actually go about building something like this? Step by step. And of course, the first step is that you need to find a piece of land that is reasonably flat. It doesn't have to be super flat actually, because you can sort of determine how you're going to do this. But I like to sort of even out the ground around it, at least where the zombies will be walking up along the ramps, because that just keeps it more predictable. If you have an uneven floor, they might jump up where you don't want them to do, or they might not walk up where you expect them to because they're trying to go somewhere else and they get stuck and they bash things. And of course, that's not really what you want, because then they'll be breaking it. So just even out a piece of land that is reasonably flat and start building from there. Now, having something that is reasonably flat, where they're going to have two main corridors. Just to make it a little bit easier for them to walk up, we're also going to have a middle one, even though they might or might not use it, depending on where they come from. And we're going to make this a little bit up off the ground. We want to make sure that it's probably around 6 something off the ground, because that'll help to protect against explosions from the zombie cops, which of course could occur as they fall down or as you shoot at them, etc. And as always, you want to make sure you don't get explosion damage from the cops, because that just ruins all the fun. So let's see, we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll probably go to one higher here. The length is something that you can decide yourself. I'm going to aim for about 15 here. Simple because, well, 15 seems to work. If you want to make it longer, you can. You just have to make sure you don't make it too long, because then the zombies might decide that they're really tired and they don't want to walk up. I think you can go fairly far before that happens, but you don't want to go too far. If you go 50 blocks, they definitely are not going to go all the way around. If you make it too short, you're just restricting yourself for the amount of time you have to kill them. We're going to do 15, and then we're going to add on 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do 1, 2, just to have supporting pillars as well. Important, make sure you have supporting pillars, and of course you can make them any type of support you want to. Just want to make sure that it can hold up even if one of these supporting pillars gets taken down. So having them, in this case, I have them effectively 7 apart, which is just fine. Concrete can do 7 plus 7, I believe. So this should not be any issue, but you also want to consider that it should hold up here in the middle. Okay, as you can see, I now have 2 pathways here with 1 block in the middle and another 2. So these are the 2 lanes. Now you can do this obviously a few different types. I'm just going to do a slightly of a slim way, but I'm sure you can make it differently. So I'm going to put some concrete plates here on the outside, because they're going to be carrying or bearing some of the load here, just to make it slimmer. And on top of it, I'm going to do copy rotation. I'm going to have, what's this? Bulletproof glass. And why do I choose bulletproof glass? Well, it's because I want to be able to see what's through there. You could do just more of the concrete plates if you want to, or you could have normal blocks. It doesn't really matter, but you need some kind of wall so that the zombies don't just walk out there. You also want something that you can have the poles next to. You could have just poles or open if you wanted to without anything blocking, but then you might end up having the cops spitting. of vomiting, and that's less than interesting because that means they will be vomiting onto the barbed wire that we're going to be placing, and you definitely don't want that to happen because it just causes you problems. If the cops vomit on the barbed wire, they will break them fairly easily, and those are the main reason that we're doing it this way. We want to have the barbed wire, and we want to keep the barbed wire alive, or rather undamaged or undestroyed at least. A little bit of damage doesn't really matter too much. So I'm going to make this tree high so that we have pretty good visibility. In the middle, I'm going to do pretty much the same thing. I'm going to start with, oh, and that's not what I wanted at all. I'm going to start with having just a bulletproof block. And it keeps it a really nice and open, airy look. Put this one here. And now we get to some of the design here. So you want to use some poles. You can use wood pole, but they will get destroyed fairly easily. Concrete pole is probably the best one. And there are a couple of different ways of doing it. You could put the poles on the bottom, and then you have the barbed wire on top, or vice versa. But I prefer to keep them here, so I have barbed wire at the bottom, because that way spider zombies, wolves, dogs, and whatever that is just one crawlers will also be blocked by it, or rather restricted by the barbed wire. So you put these here on the second, and that's why you need something on the outside, because otherwise obviously they can't just be floating. So we put them like this on this side, and of course we need to do the same thing here. And how do you do that if you have nothing here? Really good question. And I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to put just another layer of, you see a plate here, bulletproof glass plate, again because I want to keep a good visibility, and I'll show you later why that actually can matter. And let me see if I can, oh, I missed that one. This. So now you see it's actually attaching to the bulletproof glass, the plate itself, which is what we want. And get this up here. And that's not what we want. We have to remove that one. And let me just finish this one as well while I'm at it. And I believe this is around 15 long. You want to make it fairly long. And this is the basic of it. Really good, right? Now, for the main thing here, which is why you want to be a little bit careful when you're doing it, and the reason we're using poles is because plates are not enough. So, and I can show that here. Let me see, I put down the barbed wire. What happens to the player in zombies is that if you walk past on the outside, you slow down. Let me see if I put this one here. You see, I can't repair it. It hasn't taken any damage. It's not degrading. What happens if I walk up to it? Well, I take damage, but it's not a lot of damage, so it doesn't really matter. But you see, it degrades. You see, it goes down every time by 6. And that's fairly bad, because it means that it doesn't take very long for zombies to break it completely. And I was doing that in my Let's Play Resident Evil. I was playing around with different ways of preventing that. So I first started with a plate, and you can see it's not thick enough. For some reason, let's see if I can get out here, the barbed wire actually sticks out beyond this plate. So even if you have it here, there's damage taken and it is being degraded, which is not what you want. And that means that you need something that is a slightly wider, and the pole is perfect because I think it's 2 width of the plate, which means that you can walk past, but you are being slowed down. Now, of course, if you're on this side, there's nothing, so that's why you put them on both sides. So what happens, you know, if I'm here, I slow down, and let me do this as well. I can get out of here. Oh, it's so slow. And I do this. What it means is that regardless of where I am in this corridor, I am being slowed down, and I'm being slowed a fair bit because I missed one there. Let me put it down like this. You see, even if I try to run, it's really slow, and I get out of here, it's much faster. But because the poles are here, they're not degrading, so they will last effectively forever until they try to attack them. And usually they will not, because they're trying to get this way. And you can see how it matters how long this corridor is, because if it's too short, they will, of course, be getting through this really fast before you can actually kill them. If it's too long, then they might decide that they don't want to go there at all because the other zombies are blocking. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish up this side, and I'm going to finish up the next side. But we all have another problem. How do you prevent... Oh, I'm getting stuck on them. So this is because I'm on top of it, which has a slightly different kind of hitbox, which is a little bit weird. So you also want to make sure that they can't just jump over. So how do you prevent that? And in my case, I'm simply going to take... And let me do that this way. I'm going to take... Copy rotation, see if that's the correct one. Come on, show up. I'm going to take and place down one on top as well. Let's do it this way now. Let's do advanced rotation. Like this. Right. This is basically too little for the zombies to get through. And why do you want to do this, and as opposed to just a solid wall? Well, the reason is that having a solid wall means that you can't shoot through it. And that's a bit of a problem. If you're standing here trying to shoot, you sort of have to move to the side in order to shoot. But if you have it like this, you have a really good visibility. You can get headshots even when you're standing here. Theoretically, dogs could actually jump up here. That's definitely possible. And we can prevent that a little bit, but just for... In this purposes, I'm going to try out using it this way, and we'll see if the dogs actually try to jump up. I'm actually not sure they will. If they do, well, we'll have to deal with that with a slight redesign. But I'm hoping that this will be good enough. Also on the outside, you also want to make sure they don't jump up on the pole and take that as an easy highway. And here it matters a little bit less of where you put them, so I'm just going to put them on one up. You still have a good visibility out, and because you're not going to be shooting out, it doesn't really matter. You're only going to be shooting here, so that doesn't matter one bit. Okay, so we now have the basic design done here. We have the two corridors here, and you can barely see there is barbed wire on both sides, or actually on all sides. And I'm just going to enclose it here so you don't get zombies walking on top of each other, because that's something that can happen otherwise. Zombies like to stack up. And if they stack up too much, meaning they get up 2 or 3, then they'll get on top of this, and this is not what you want. You want to make sure that they actually get in here. And if you are having a problem, you might have to just overhang a little bit here, so I'm going to do that a little bit as well. And finally, the last thing we want to do here is enclose this so we don't get vultures coming in and spitting at us. Of course, we also want to make sure we have an entryway, so I'm going to make just a basic entryway. Of course, you can do that anyway. If this is your base, you could imagine that you have your this is the entryway here, and you have your walls stretching out behind it, and that means that you have an easy way into your base. And if you leave this open, it means that pretty much always when the zombies are searching for you and they're trying to path through, they will come through here. And of course, if you're not defending actively, you might want to have some other contraptions here to kill them, just in case so they don't just trips and walk into your base that way. Okay, so we're now standing inside this nice little cozy place. As you can see my previous build there. So how does it work against just random zombies? And let's try to do that. Let me see if I can just come out a little bit here and spawn something in, and we'll have them look at me. Let's do a feral. Let's do a old-timer feral. And he should be hopefully be trying to come up here. See if he is. Yep. Okay, so there he comes. And you see how slow he is. He's walking, and of course he's not taking any damage, but he's slowly making its way up, and it gives you a lot of time to just shoot at him. I mean, I'm obviously not doing much here, and he'll stand up again. And there he goes. So both are fairly alright as long as you don't have a too high concurrency. And let me see if I get a little bit more. Let's see if I do... Let me not just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do this. Let me make a little bit of noise. That's not a lot. Okay, here we come. You see they are coming in here. The feral obviously are first. Not always easy to get them. But as long as they sort of line up like this, it's actually not too bad. Because even if you miss one, hopefully you hit the one behind. And this is just using bows. Of course, if you're using guns, it's a lot simpler. And I don't know what happened to the other ones that are... Oh, there, they're coming slowly. And now I'm using the AK-47 with just a red dot sight. Probably 2x sight would have been better. You see, if they're just walking, you can check to see what's happening to them here. Some of them are just taking their own sweet time because they are not feral. And kill them is really simple. Oh, okay. He didn't die. There he did. And then slowly... the biker makes his way up. You probably want to have something like a 2x sight though. Let me see, sight. Okay, 2x. Let's do scope 1. Modify. We have plenty of time here. Oh, that was the reflex sight. Okay, wrong one. This one, okay. Let's reload. And see how, because it's so slow, you just have so much time. But that gives you a little bit more. You could do 4x, I suppose. And he's going to be standing up again. And then you just pop him again in the head. And you get your experience. You see, just 8 is rarely an issue. At least normal ones. But what if I get something like 25? What happens? Well, let's try. Let me get in. Let's get in some... 25. Let's get cheerleader. And let's not look at me. Okay, some of them... Okay, now they're coming. Now, a lot of them will be coming up here. And you see, even feral, they get slowed down so much that without really wasting a lot of ammo, you can do pretty well. Now you see, that one got pushed up on top of the middle. And, you know, it's not a big deal. It could happen because of them taking damage. And you see they are trying to run in front of each other. And if they get too close, you know, that's when you sort of... That's where you go full auto just to mow them down. Because you don't really need to... You don't really need to aim if they're that close. Now, of course, this is wood 25. And no other defenses other than... Okay. Other than... Well, you're effectively just using the barbed wire to slow them down. And do some looting. Ooh, not bad. So I obviously used more than 6 rounds of ammo. But you saw the experience is 25 feral. Experience. And it didn't make it anywhere. You do see there is a little bit of damage. And that could have been because of me shooting it. Doesn't really matter if they take a few damage here and there. And you look at the barbed wire, no damage at all. There's a little bit here, and I believe it's because the zombie got pushed up here on top. And that means that she is taking a little bit of damage. So, but most of the time, there's nothing. Occasional stray bullets can damage it. Let me do that here. And I think that will be a little bit of damage. Nope. I guess I missed. Try again. Oh, I'm hitting the... Okay, I'm missing the barbed wire and hitting the... Yeah, I'm hitting the actual bulletproof glass, and it's good it's bulletproof. Now, let's say you're a little bit concerned about the zombies getting up too close to you. So what do you do with that? So there are a few ways to sort of try to mitigate that as well. So let me look at a couple of those. So I think I have to move that one. So first, I'm going to put down... Is that the right way? Yes. I'm going to put down some of these, which are just hatches. And I'm going to do that here as well. Let me see, 1, 2. I want to do it there, but I want to do 1, 2. That's blocking there. Let's see if I get it. Nope. Wrong way. Yeah, no, that's the correct way. And let's copy rotation. Do that this way and take this one out this way. We put down the torch here then. So what good do these do? Well, because you can use them to basically block off. And if you do like this, and actually I probably should do that there. But let me do, okay. Do copy rotation, let me just do that like this. Because that basically means that I can stand here and the zombies will never be able to get past. They will have to bash these ones, but I give you some extra time to actually control it. So that's useful. You could do something else as well. Let me do that. Let me do a mine. Pressure plate mine is usually pretty good because you can make, well, you can mass produce it. Let's destroy these ones. It means that they are not going to be slowed down. So you have to take that into account. However, it means that you have some mines that will, sort of as a last ditch, take care of them. So let's do the same thing here now. And I'm going to summon in 25 of the kind cheerleaders. Nah, let's do nurses. Let's do nurse. They're always nice and cute. Okay, here they're coming. Shoot some. Okay. Switch over to my AK-47 here. And of course, you will be as usual. You'll be standing here shooting. And if they're nicely lined up here, headshots a little easier. You can just go back and forth here. I'm gonna see if I can get a couple of them at least to get up here and see what happens. Let me reload and bam! A bunch of them died and bam! More of them died, or at least got taken down. And you see, as they get up here, they can't get through. So let's eventually, of course, they will get through because these one can't take a never-ending punishment. But they last at least a while for you to either retreat, reload, or just take them out with full auto fire if you can. These being feral, of course, they will destroy them before too long. But let's say you have your base here. It will give you enough time to maybe repair, reload, or just run away. Because you probably don't want to run away because they'll be coming after you. But let's say you have some other defenses here, such as shotguns and everything, shotgun turrets, that will take care of them. And once these are down, you can just wait for things to despawn. And come on, despawn. Let me help things despawn a little bit. And you put down your pressure plate mines again, and you are good to go. Of course, you might want to just make sure you repair them. These ones didn't take damage, just these ones, and all is good. Now, these ones you can see, they do have some hit points, but of course, if you have too many zombies coming, they're not going to last more than, 10, 20, 30 seconds, depending. But they do give you a way to just delay them a little bit further, and because they don't really block your fire, so they're pretty good insurance, and the cheap insurance just to have. And if you want to take them down, of course you just flip them down and all is good, but I like to keep them up. All right, we are now reaching Blood Moon Horde, and I have it set to 8 concurrent. Let's see where they spawn from. You can look for the green stuff, and okay, here they come. Let's see, they're coming up here. And we'll be getting some of the radiated ones, which are a little bit harder to deal with. And if you get these ones, obviously you probably want to make sure you're shooting at them with your guns and not just your bows, because it's a little bit harder to do that, to take them out, because you need to have a fairly good and quick damage output. But even here, just standing, and this is with 8 concurrent, so it's not a major issue. If you have too many of them, standing here by yourself can be a bit of a problem. And they get here up here, no issue. And you can just stand here. Of course, you need to make sure that you have a fair bit of ammo. And if they really get up here, well, I think that one, you see, just knock them down with your sledgehammer, for instance. This works as a fairly alright melee base as well, depending on how you do that. Of course, you're going to run out of stamina, perhaps. Oh, but it works. And if you have a good stamina region, not so difficult. You do get some potential issue with cops, as always. Cops are always the most challenging ones because you want to make sure that they don't blow up here. If they blow up, they will do damage and they will take out a lot of them. You'll see that here. And let me halt that. Nope, not this one. Do this. And let's do this. And let's move up here. And you'll see the damage here. You'll see there are no more of the barbed wire here. So it is something you want to take into account, that if you can kill the... Yeah, make all this noise. If you can kill the cops, do that, because they will be causing a lot of problems. When they start taking out the barbed wire, you're losing your defenses, because the barbed wire is what's helping keep you alive. So I get out of here. Vanish. Thank you. And I'm just going to replace. Of course, you wouldn't be able to do that during the... Okay, that's not what I wanted. I'm back here, super digger. And let's put this one. And let's do this. Let's get rid of the super digger and get back our little sledgehammer here. Thank you. And let's restart them here. So, cops you want to make sure you take out. Other ones, not such a big deal. There are ways to do this slightly differently. You could have, because one of the problems you see when you get high game stage is that you get a lot of these ones, the green ones, and if you don't have good ammo, they become an issue to take care of. What you could imagine doing is that instead of having this on the last side, you could put... quiet please, quiet please. You could have... Gonna blow up. Let's take him out. Okay. You could have, let's say, dart traps or something that is firing across. That means that once they reach here, they might be doing a little bit of damage to these ones, but... And let me upgrade this one even better. But at least they will be taking a lot of damage from the dart traps. I didn't put that in because I just wanted to show... It's weird. I just wanted to... Oh, look at that model. They're popping in now, and that doesn't happen for these ones. Fun pimps, do something about that. You see how the hatches just vanish? That's obviously a visual glitch. Weird. It made me think that there was nothing there, which is of course they are. So how well does this one stand up when you're having, let's say, 32 concurrent zombies? And the sad news is that it probably will not do a very good job. Oh, he's standing running past him there, trying to run past him. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll do very well at all, because you are going to get way more than you can handle. We probably could do Molotovs, and we're going to try that out on the next one. But let me restart this with 64 zombies. Just as a slight aside, sometimes you run into really weird things in the game, and let me show that here. So I got all these zombies here, and you go like, nope. Hello? And if I pause them, you see they say nearest entity as target is Vedui, but it also says unreached side jump, which means that they feel that they can't reach me. And then they do this weird thing. They're like, no, Vedui is unreachable. You know, he can't be reached. We don't know where he is. And then you get this really, really weird AI, because the AI is broken. And this happens to me once in a while when I load into the game. I don't really know why, but basically you can see. It feels that regardless of me being here, it can't reach me. And that's obviously a problem, because they decide they're going to start breaking things. Let me see if he decides. Well, now he can. Oh, it's this area. Yeah, so something about this area has now been tagged as unreachable. And I don't really know why. Let's see if I remove these ones. Does that matter? Oh yeah. No, now they're still, if I stand up here, it's unreachable. So something has really gone wrong with the AI. If I'm here, they go like, nope. They see me. Oh, you see, unreached side, cannot reach. And this can happen, and this does happen sometimes when you're just playing the game as well. Something really goes wrong with the AI, and it just cannot recover. And this is still 17.3. It's not even the new experimental, but you see, it says, nope, unreachable. I'm just going to run around. I just don't know how to get to Vedui. And of course, this is a little bit of a problem when you're trying to do testing, because I'm trying to get in a horde of 64, and I just can't because they feel they can't actually reach me. Time to load an older save. Okay, it looks like I managed to resolve that issue with them deciding that, yeah, there was no way they could reach me. And how did I do it? Kind of weird. Let me just get rid of these ones. That's all. I literally just filled in this whole thing to be one massive pillar as opposed to small pillars. And suddenly they decided, I guess this is not something I want to touch. So now I suddenly know that there is a path up for me to the player. And darkness falls. Let's see where all these evil zombies are coming from. Let's see if they decide. Yep, they definitely decide they want to go this way. So that's exactly what we want. So let me switch in before they kill me. They're going the right way. Let me get this one. And yes. So this is with 64 concurrent. So can you handle 64 concurrent? Probably not. It's fairly difficult. Now, one way you could do is use something like the Molotovs, because they will definitely help to slow things down. However, I simply don't think that's enough, because there's just too many of them. 64, if you're here by yourself. And yeah, now I'm in God mode, which obviously means that I will survive no matter how much they pummel me. But you can see there's simply no way for me to get enough damage output here. I mean, I can use the admin gun, but with 64 enemies, you see they're all coming here. I think they're all going to be coming in the same lane anyway. I think that's not an issue, but there are just too many of them. You can't output enough damage. So if you want to have this many zombies, you are going to need something other than just yourself to kill them, because yeah, this simply is not gonna work. There's no way I can output enough damage to take care of them. Maybe if it's like 16 or something and you're like 2 players, or let's say you're 4 players with 32, that's probably manageable as well. But 1 player with 64, you see, there's no way that I can keep them at bay. They're just too many. And that was weird. It's like they got pissed off at each other and decided that nope. So, alright, no. Okay. Guys, hold on. Let's move away. So you see, they're all running up here just the way they should be, and they are being slowed. And see, I think what happened here is that this lane was full, so they decided, let me just go here instead, which is why having 2 lanes is good. Others, they might decide that they want to bash the pillars. But yeah, with 64, not going to work. It's simply not going to work. And I actually put some torches here, but I think the cops have vomited and destroyed those as well. But yeah, nope, that's not going to work. But I do hope you enjoyed this kind of build, and it is something I would use for, let's say, an 8 concurrent zombies, maybe 16 if I had some traps for backup, because it does allow you to collect a lot of the experience. You're probably not going to be able to loot it effectively, but it's a way to secure your base entryway. And if you enjoy this kind of base building, why not subscribe and like, and comment below what you think I should be building. And of course, make sure you follow me on Twitter. And why not join my Discord and discuss more? I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.
Special thanks to the great patrons supporting the channel. If you would like to join the vetted community and support these videos, do follow the Patreon link.